Hello everybody, welcome to Tpull's Corner. This is Travis. We're doing a special edition today. I'm doing gameplay and putting a new deck out so you can copy the deck list if you want. Here I'm going to go over the achievements and how to get them. Okay, so let me explain what's going on. The achievements are relatively new, and what I've done is I've gained a number of them over time, and I'm going to show you tonight the specific decks that I use to get each specific achievement. And you're going to have a limited amount of time if you want to get them, but I thought I would do this. I'm not going to cover a lot of the core achievement type stuff because some are like, if you play in the format, you're naturally going to earn those. You just got to play the right number of games, you know, or here, like, this is play 250 games. You're going to get that. You don't need a specific deck for those. There are a couple of the advanced achievements that I'll cover. And then for the color masteries, I've got 46 out of 50 of them earned. And there are only a couple that I specifically made decks for because they might have been tricky concepts. And there's a couple I haven't gotten around to, but that's because I thought I had a lot more time. But if you want to, if there's a particular achievement that's tricky for you or you thought would be very difficult to get, this is what you're going to use basically to get it done. But the rotation is coming. After I publish this, you're probably going to only have like 20 hours of gameplay before the rotation hits. We're going to lose a lot of the cards. So what you can still do then, and let me show you the first deck. And I'm going to show you this deck because I actually earned 10 achievements with this one deck. And it's valid right now in standard. But for example, if we change this to alchemy, alchemy is ahead of us. They rotate cards out first. So these are the cards that we're going to lose from, like Dominion, from Brotherhood War, from Dominaria United, from March of the Machines, from Phyrexia, from Aftermath. These cards are not going to be valid. So what you can do is, if you don't get this done immediately, if you come to the video and it's too late, like you find the video a day or two after, and we've already had rotation, just open up the deck list. You can import it into a spare spot in your 100 allocated deck list. And they'll show up red and highlighted for the cards that are invalid for current standard. So you just click on them, you subtract them, you take them out, and you go look for a replacement card among the current valid card pool. So for this one, for example, Mind Splice Apparatus, you're just looking for a card that allows you to cast instant and sorcery spells for one less to cast for each. You won't have oil counters. Maybe the deck won't work anymore. It's possible this is kind of a unique card. I'm going to miss this card. But your assignment basically is, if you want to get that achievement and the deck's missing cards because of the rotation, go ahead and find a substitute card. Like, for example, here, change the equation. It doesn't necessarily need to be that specific counterspell. You could probably find another 2-drop counterspell that might fit in this deck that might work well. You might also find out that, you know, hey, it just doesn't work. The substitute card for Mind Splice Apparatus isn't good enough. But I'm going to go through all my X's, the key cards. I got one with World Soul's Rage. I got one achievement. I got most of them with Doppelgang. What happens is I get multiple Mind Splice Apparatus out on the battlefield. The game would be going on for a while. Of oil counters, so I'd have a ton of basically extra free mana. And I could power up the X part of Doppelgang enough, and I usually would copy my opponent's stuff, and I would use this to get color mastery achievements for colors that I'm not playing. So like, this is a green, blue, red deck. I'm earning like color mastery whites and color mastery blue or color mastery black achievements. So let's go in and we'll list them all now and just discard the changes, go into color masteries, and I'm going to list them in the order that I earned them chronologically. So count on it. Put 300 +1/+1 counters on creatures you control over any number of games. You should probably just get this eventually playing Magic the Gathering online arena, but you can get it fast with this. Count the counters might be a little bit harder. Put 25 or more counters on permanents you control in a single game. Okay, we did that with the same deck. We got Color Mastery White, we got Test of Endurance, reach a life total of 50 or greater, and we got Heal Up, gain 777 life over any number of games. This I didn't get all from one session, right? But again, this is something that you should probably get just over time. But this deck, using this deck, will really speed it up. We got a third Color Mastery White, and that was Ooh Shiny. Control 12 or more artifacts and or enchantments at the beginning of your end step. So, for example, this life gain, how I got this Color Mastery White life gain, I had, let me go back to the deck real quick. I had 3 Mind Splice Apparatus out, and I powered up Doppelgang for 3 apiece. So I copied 3 of my opponent's Feladar's Retreat, 3 of their Primeval Bounty, which they're all enchantments, so that helped me get the enchantment and artifact achievement. And I copied a big creature that they had, and I started playing lands. And lands I can use to add counters. I could use to create lands, and the lands would give me +3 life from Primeval Bounty, and so on and so forth. So I just started a whole bunch of chains of counter chains, adding counters, adding life, adding creatures, and it just everything snowballed. So I got, I think I got a couple of achievements in a single match from that one. The other achievements we got, let's move on to the other colors, I think. Let's look at blue. The next one I got was Heavy-Handed. End a turn with 12 or more cards in your hand. That one we got there with that deck. Color Mastery Red. We got Surprise Attack. Attack with 5 or more creatures the turn they entered the battlefield during a single combat step. So I think I copied a bunch of haste creatures or something. And we also got the one-shot. This is with World Soul's Rage. In a match-made game, deal 20 or more non-combat damage to a player. So 20 damage straight to their face. It was glorious. And then one in Color Mastery Black. Taking You With Me. Win a game on the same turn, you sacrifice 6 or more permanents. You could easily get that with the mono black deck, right? Sacrifice deck, but we actually got it with ours. The next deck, moving on. This was a... Here, Your Go. In Color Mastery Blue, win a game where you only cast spells on an opponent's turn. The name of the deck is White Flash. And that's because I did create a blue deck. I don't remember the name of it right now. But this is the first deck that I got the achievement with. Because once you get it, it doesn't keep track of how many times you do it. Although, to see how many games you can win doing that. There's something with the contrary nature of the way my brain works. I did not create a blue deck, which everybody would think of to do this achievement. I created, because white has access to a lot of flash cards with the flash mechanic, so you can flash things in on the opponent's turn. So I made a deck called White Flash, and I don't have it in my deck list anymore, but you can just search in the YouTube bar, you can search in White Flash, and it should pop up the video if you want to watch it, or just copy the deck list. But this one was kind of a trickier one, I thought. Next, a deck I know we still have, Excruciating Conundrum. Named after these 2 cards, Living Conundrum. If you draw a card while your library has no cards in it, you skip the step. Your 2/5 turns into a 10/10. And it's Doomsday Excruciator, where if you summon it, both players exile all but the 6 bottom cards of the library. And we basically milled them out. We had Ashiok Wicked Manipulator in here, and we used that to get an achievement. That one was an advanced achievement, so it's under core. Go here to advanced achievements. Going ultimate. This is what you do with the Planeswalker, right? Remove 6 or more loyalty counters from a Planeswalker you control during your turn. That's usually using the bottom, the most powerful spell that they have. So here with Ashiok, we did the -7 down at the bottom of their 3rd ability. And that's just called Going Ultimate, so you get an achievement for that. So we did that with this deck. There was a second Advanced Mastery one we did, and that was Mill-licious. Have an opponent lose a game by drawing from an empty library. We just milled them out. This is a great deck to do that. And we also got one in Color Mastery Black, and that was simply called Graverobbing. Have 80 creatures leave your graveyard over any number of games. Again, you wouldn't necessarily need... there's the black and green enchantment. So you can do this a number of different ways. I'm just telling you the decks that I used that really sped up me getting the achievement. The next deck should be easy for you because Wizards gave 10 pre-made decks to everybody. Learn from the land. I kept both versions, actually. This one has loot on the cover sleeve. But we got a Color Mastery White, and it's not even like white colors. It's a blue and green deck. But this is a good deck for having elves, and it's a good deck for just developing an army and sort of having a standoff with your opponent until you're ready to swing in an attack. So for that, we go to Color Mastery White, and going wide. Attack with 15 or more creatures in a single combat step. Then in Color Mastery Green, we have to go up here. We got, what did we earn? Here, Growth and Strength. Cast 250 elf or hydra spells over any number of games. Lots of elves in this particular Learn from the Land deck that Wizards gave you, so I know you have that one for sure. Next one was a really fun one. Clues to Poison. This we used to get an advanced achievement called Complete Victory. Complete spelled the Phyrexian way. But this was the key card, and it's still going to be valid after rotation. Persuasive Interrogators. When the creature enters, investigate. Whenever you sacrifice a clue, target opponent gets 2 poison counters. You can win by poisoning your opponent to death, and they might not be prepared for it. They could be really surprised with, once you get things set up, how fast it works. But remember, there is going to be achievements, core achievements, advanced achievements, and we go down here to Complete Victory. Have an opponent lose a game by having 10 or more poison counters. There's a number of Phyrexian cards that you can use to get that done. I thought it was really fun to use this deck because this is just a card that almost nobody uses, and when it worked really well. So I had a lot of fun with that deck. Next, Synthesizer Forge. The key on this is we have Simulacrum Synthesizer, 4 copies of that, and 4 copies of Urbrass Forge, which sacrifices a token at the end of each turn. And you're just putting out artifacts and watching things snowball. And from that, we got in Color Mastery Black. Let's see, which one is that? Expendable Minions. Where are you? There. Sacrifice 100 creatures over any number of games. You play with that Forge, you're going to be sacrificing a creature every turn. And if you get multiples out, you're sacrificing multiple every turn. The next deck I didn't have a chance to keep yet. We got an achievement from Color Mastery Blue. This one's called the Grim Self-Mill. We use the artifact where you mill a card, and then you can exile one of each type from Exile. So it's like, I think it was like a pirate and a merfolk and a vampire, and I forget what the 4th one is right now. But that one we got Artifact Factory. Cast 300 artifact spells over any number of games. We have a lot of shapeshifter scarecrow artifact creatures in there, so just tons of artifacts that you can cast. It's called the Grim Self-Mill, and I'll have all these labeled in the text box below. Okay, next we have a deck I didn't keep either called All the Other Frogs. So a bit of background. I did for a couple of months, I spent on Bloomburrow, where I'd pick a different animal and I'd make a tribal animal deck. I did one of all frogs. And then I went through, because there's a lot of frogs in the other neighboring expansions, and I made a deck that still had some Bloomburrow frogs, but it made sure I tried to fit as many of the other frogs from the other expansions in it. So it's called All the Other Frogs, and we got Arcana Solace achievement. Cast 6 or more spells in a single turn. Lots of cheap stuff from that. The next one, this was a Color Mastery Blue achievement. It was called Add Instant Speed, the first one here. Cast 250 spells on an opponent's turn over any number of games. Again, easy to do, but this one I actually, it originated, it's called Illusions Ninjas. It originated as a 40-card quick draft that I got from playing the quick draft format, and then I turned it into a card deck, and I could only do that in a historic format. So I got this achievement by playing in the historic format, just so you know. You can find that video. You can watch the video if you want. You can just import the deck list. Next, one of my favorite decks, the Nightmare of Exile. This has 4 copies of Ashiok Wicked Manipulator. We want to get these token Nightmare creatures out, exile a card, and pump them up so they get +1 on the counters all the time. And all of these cards, exile, 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 exile. You just concentrate on everything that you do to exile 3 cards from their graveyards. We've got a Ley Line of the Void to exile everything from the graveyard that goes in there, that kind of thing. So the achievement we got was actually in Color Mastery White. And you see it's got the the artwork even for the enchantment, the white enchantment spell that banishes. Exile 150 creatures over any number of games. And again, this is just a thing where I knew it was in Color Mastery White, but I thought it was hilarious to always use a different color to get the achievement. So you can get there really fast with that deck. Next achievement comes from Critter Control. And this is mostly stealing your opponent's stuff, like with Blue Sun's Twilight, stealing all the creatures. I got an enchanted achievement because we have so many enchantments. Stop Cold, Kidnap, Course to Kill. Duskmourn's Domination is an enchantment. So just all sorts of stuff. Let's see. Go up. There we go. That's an enchantment. Room still counts. But we got that from Color Mastery White. Again, off color. But this one was called Simply Enchanted. Cast 300 enchantment spells over any number of games. That one works really well. Next deck, Second Card is the name of it. I still have it. It's a faster deck if you like fast decks. It's all based around the idea of the second time you do something. So like Prophecy Eidetic Memory, when you've drawn more than one card, you get X counters on target creature control. Or Copying so you have a second spell. Or Slick Sequence, if you've cast another spell, you draw a card. Here we have Malcolm, whenever you cast your second spell, investigate. So either you draw your second spell and something happens, or you cast your second spell and something happens. And sometimes you can draw a spell, and then you cast your spell and you draw a card, and because you've drawn a card, you get to do something else. And you can create a number of fun chains with this particular deck. We got 2 achievements off of this. They're both Color Mastery Red. We're looking for Impulsive and To the Dome. So Impulsive is cast 100 cards from Exile over any number of games. And To the Dome, deal 350 non-combat damage to players. So you're just zapping them in the face, basically. Let me go back to decks real quick. And we use Slick Sequence a lot to just zap our opponent for twice in the games. And then I think we use Teach by Example, 4 copies. So I think when you copy the spell, that copy comes from the Exile. So that's how we got the Exile achievement. Next, if you like discard, this is the deck you use. Talented Discard. Now, to be fair, we had what's the name of the 1-cost enchantment that got banned? Hopeless Nightmare. We had that in here, and it got banned. But this is just a discard deck, and it's in my Kaizen Evil playlist because it's just a totally evil deck. So, of course, this was Color Mastery Black, and we're looking for a terrible thing to waste right here. Have opponent discard 120 cards over any number of games. If there's a deck that can make you discard, this is it. This is really the deck you want to use. Next up, Multiverse Portal. And I think this is 2.0. I don't even think I used 2.0 for this. I think I used another one pre-rotation. By another rotation. It's just based on the idea of throwing stuff in your graveyard, using Repair and Recharge to get the enchantments or artifacts back. You bring back really big 8 and 9 drop spells like Portal to Phyrexia. We're going to lose a lot of stuff in this deck, so I'm not sure how well it's going to hold up after this. We'll see. I have repurposed this deck and put new cards in and taken other cards out multiple times. But this one, we got a Color Mastery Red, and that was called, where are you? Need for Speed. Attack with 150 creatures the turn they entered the battlefield over any number of games. So again, one that you don't necessarily, you'll get this eventually, especially if you're playing like Mono Red Haste. But that's the deck that I got it with. Next, okay, the last one, I have the deck, I don't have the video made yet. And I don't know if I'll have enough time. But it's the latest deck I made called Cursed Recording. It's built around the artifact where you tap it and you can copy the instant or sorcery. So I just got this achievement last night. It's in Color Mastery Blue. Twice as nice. Copy 25 spells over any number of games. This is a deck designed to copy spells, so this will work. I don't know if there's any cards that are going to rotate out, but what I'll do is I will try and get that recording done as well, and I'll try and get out as soon as I can. And if it's available, I will edit the playlist and make sure to include it so that you have access to the deck list. So that is it. That's what I wanted to do. Let's do this because I know I have a few hundred subscribers. Most of you are lurkers, which I'm okay with, but I do want a lot of engagement on this because I don't normally do this type of video. I'm usually just doing gameplay, pure gameplay almost all the time. So if this is useful to you, please let me know. If I'm really curious if what your achievement goals are, if you want to try and get them all, if you like, oh, I don't care about the format ones, but the tricky ones I'm interested in. If you I want to hear, did you speed through as soon as you found the video? Did you copy a lot of these and get achievements? How quickly did you get them? Or if you found this later, and did you appreciate having the framework of the existing deck list and just taking away the cards that rotated out that you can't use anymore, and still using that as a framework to build a new deck? And were you able to do that and get some of the same for things like the All Mah X's deck? If you use that, does it work? Did you get the same achievements that I did? Or did you have unexpected results from doppelganging your opponent's permanents? And did you get like achievements that I didn't get using some of these same decks? Very interested, very, very highly curious if any of this stuff type of thing happens. So definitely, if you use any of this, the idea of if you would like these type of guides in the future, if you find these useful, I'm going to go try and make that cursed recording deck now. Thanks, everybody. Have a good one.